Do you feel him, sir?
Wrestlemania in Saudi Arabia is a choice for sure. Not a choice many people are fond of, but a choice nonetheless. It's safe to say that many people are upset about it for a myriad of reasons, such as the whole general negativity towards Saudi Arabia and WWE's track record working with them since 2018, along with other issues, such as the restriction of female wrestlers. The list, it could go on and on, but I'll just keep it there. Places such as the UK and Australia felt shafted due to their desperate cries for years for any big WWE events, but especially the big daddy of big slammies. I'm not a fan of this current situation either, so instead of whining about it on the internet and doing nothing, I'm gonna whine about it as like a smart YouTuber in a content video. Here is my list of 10 places that WWE should have gone, or at least could have gone, instead of Saudi Arabia. Now, this list isn't considering stuff like, logistics, all the technical stuff, like can a city that size handle WrestleMania? Can the venue handle WrestleMania? Can the economy? We're not worrying about that. It's just general places that I think at the very least would be cool if WWE went there, and a lot of these have genuine reasons. Low-key anything over Saudi in this current situation. So let's get into my first top 10 list on the channel, finally, after it's been in the description for ages. Top 10 places WrestleMania 43 should have been instead of Saudi Arabia. Number 10, Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. So, fun fact, this city was actually announced to host WrestleMania back on February 24th, 2025. The official announcement from WWE, namely The Rock himself, coming from the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, and we were told that this was going to be the third time the event had run at the venue, having visited for Mania 30 and 34 respectively. A three-peat of a venue isn't everybody's, favorite, but the fact that it was announced to take place there before being replaced by Vegas Mania 2 in June of the same year, just 4 months removed, it's a little bit of a sting. We were told about the Vegas repeat and then promised future WWE and UFC events, including 2026's upcoming Money in the Bank and UFC 318. Here's hoping that New Orleans does get their turn again sometime down the line, if only for those in the area who were looking forward to it in February of that year. Number 9, Paris La Défense Arena in Nanterre, France. Sorry if I fucked up any of that pronunciation. I like to raw dog it and then get corrected later on so I can self-police myself as it happens. Now, I would imagine this is one of the more controversial picks on here, but this venue did actually host an event just recently with Clash in Paris. The capacity doesn't seemingly live up to WWE standards on paper, with only 30,000 attending at the Clash and an overall capacity max of 45,000 for concerts at its biggest, but hear me out here. It's an overseas Mania, so we have the inherent bonus points that are there warranted by the electric response of both Clash in Paris and 2024's Backlash event in Lyon. There's also the fact that while it is lower capacity than Mania 41 and other events, WrestleMania 41 only maxed out at 58,000 and 68,000 for either night respectively. This would be a low attendance prediction for Mania in the history of its two-night tenure especially, but I still think it'd be interesting to at the very least see France get a large-scale event like this. Number 8, the Optus Stadium in Burswood, Australia. This venue recently hosted a big WWE event, that being 2024's Elimination Chamber, while the RAC Arena in Perth also hosted the 2025 Crown Jewel event. Both were very positively received, as pretty much any overseas event is with the WWE as of late, with the latter having one of the most highlighted matches of the year in John Cena and AJ Styles facing off amidst Cena's farewell tour. Being an overseas event, it's already a guarantee that the crowd would be white hot, but especially so for WWE's biggest event of the year. Looking at pictures from the event as well, it's a huge arena, and all that empty space on the floor that I kept seeing from overhead shots, I feel like that can be filled with more fans to fill out the arena to proper Mania crowd size. Going back to what I said about the France edition of Mania being, a bit of a not so high on the attendance area, I feel like you could easily get 50K people in here with no issue. Number 7, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. WWE previously visited Atlanta with the WrestleMania 27, making it around 15 years since WWE has held the big one there, and an upgrade from 27's Georgia Dome with an attendance of 71,000 to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium's similar capacity levels would be a great way to bring the Fed back to town. It's really easy to just say any Super Bowl location in recent history or one that's set for the future like this arena, and it is a possibly desirable location, but at the very least, I feel like the current home of the Atlanta Falcons could be a massively successful non-Florida destination for a Southeastern American Wrestlemania. Number 6, MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Another repeat location, but one that could do with the second try. WrestleMania 29 was kind of a 50-50 Mania. You either really loved it or you really hated it. The hosting location is perfect for another WrestleMania. Another football team host with a duo of the Giants and Jets. Something about the old Statue of Liberty setup begs for another iteration to be done with an even bigger and crazier stage in the modern age. This would also be the 6th time New York and the surrounding area has hosted a WrestleMania, with Madison Square Garden calling it home for 1, 10, 20, and 21. Then Mania 29 here at this arena. Number 5, the US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. While not officially announced, the city of Minneapolis had previously put in bids for Mania as recently as the planning stages of WrestleMania 41. Organizers said that they haven't given up hope, but I imagine that at least some small part of the Mania 41 bid was due in part to a certain superstar calling their state home in Brock Lesnar. The big man even competed during the offseason for the Vikings, so hosting a Mania at the home of the Purple Footballers feels right for a large number of reasons. This would also be the first time that the state has hosted a WrestleMania, and one of the few times the state has hosted a large-scale pro wrestling event at all, outside of the upcoming SummerSlam in 2026, which is going to be 2 whole nights. 2 nights of SummerSlam, 2 nights of Mania. Come on. Number 4, Signal Iduna Park in Dortmund, Germany. Now, these next few picks are going to be pretty interesting, and you're either going to really enjoy the idea of them or hate them, so I can't wait for that. Germany is still catching up to European neighbors like the United Kingdom and France in terms of bigger WWE events, but Bash in Berlin was a clear sign that the fans there are just as rabid as their companion countries. A lot of the locations on this list are overseas, but this one excites me the most out of all of them, given that while it's not a completely fresh country, thanks to the aforementioned Bash event, we've only seen it, to my knowledge, once, at least in the modern age. Several big pay-per-views in the UK, 2 recent France visits, and other scattered attention to Scotland like Clash in the Castle and the like, leave Germany as perhaps the biggest untapped country in Europe for a huge event like WrestleMania. Number 3, I have heard so many different ways to pronounce this, I apologize. Narendra Modi Stadium in Motera, Ahmedabad, Gujarat, India. Again, I am so sorry if I butchered that, I like to raw dog it. It's kind of a surprise that a large-scale event hasn't taken place in India for WWE, to my knowledge, with Nick Khan stating in a March 2025 interview that India is important to us being TKO, WWE, UFC, all that. They've tried several times to truly capture the Indian market in a larger way than their already dedicated audience has given attention with, and hosting WrestleMania in what is definitely the world's biggest stadium, didn't have to say to the best of my knowledge because I actually did research on that, would be a tremendous way to do that. Simply, this would be the physically biggest WrestleMania unless WWE can pull off some magic with the location currently in the USA or planned for the future. What WWE exec doesn't drool at the whopping 132,000 capacity? Number 2, Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan. This is very much a personal pick due to my living in Michigan, but looking at the capacity here, it just makes me crave any event, but especially WrestleMania taking place here. A reported capacity of 107,600 for football events with a reported record of 115,109 at a Michigan versus Notre Dame game in 2013 just makes me want to roll around more numbers and stats and the possibility of WrestleMania in my head. And keep in mind, those capacity numbers are counting the football field. I mean, a football field's not crazy big, especially in the large grand scheme of what a total area of a stadium is. But come on, math is hard, and like I said, I'm not going to try and do math or area multiplication or this or that, but in my head, I can imagine you could easily tack on a couple thousand or more people possibly by turning that field into the ring, ramp, and part of the stage with one of the stand's edges. This is the arena that I mainly envisioned and actually got the idea for this video from with thinking about when I mentioned multiple things such as logistics and realism in the beginning, because everyone tells me this couldn't happen due to stuff like the local economy, the infrastructure, parking, the city, all that. But hey, a girl can dream. Let me dream. And number 1, Wembley Stadium in London, United Kingdom. Who else could be number 1 but perhaps the biggest asking force around the world for a WrestleMania, and the country/stadium that perhaps deserves it the absolute most amongst their contemporaries? AEW proved to the world just how big a modern wrestling event on par with WrestleMania can do, with AEW setting the wrestling attendance record of 72,265 there with 2023's All-In events. And WWE can undoubtedly do it bigger and better, if not for sheer pocket size alone. They got the money, they got the capability. The stadium also has held rather significant sports moments, such as the 2024 game of American football between the Patriots and Jaguars, the 2015 Rugby World Cup, and the current attendance record in general, once again, to my knowledge, being the 2024 Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubois, whatever, boxing event. Wembley is built for history and undoubtedly should have been the first pick for an overseas Wrestlemania. And that's my list. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. What do you think about, just in general, the whole Saudi Arabia situation with WrestleMania? What do you think about my picks? Where would you bring a WrestleMania yourself? Let's talk about it down in the comments section below. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're staying hydrated. I'll see you next time on One Star Wrestling.